Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So what we're going to do today is actually revisit something that I've done before, and it is acrylic pouring. I'm so excited. I'm so excited because the first time I did acrylic pouring, I used pre-mixed paints, so I didn't like mix up any of my own colors or anything like that. I didn't add in my own silicone. It was just ready to go paints. So what I wanted to do this time was actually buy all of the things to mix up our own pouring paints, mix it all together, make our own concoctions, and then do some really cool, hopefully really cool acrylic pour pieces. So if you guys are interested in seeing how I'm gonna mix up all of these paints, because I'm gonna show you literally everything, like how much I put into each cup and everything. If you guys are interested in mixing up some paints with me and then doing some acrylic pouring, then continue watching. So like I said, the first time I did acrylic pouring, I used pre-mixed paints and they were fun. I actually think that video, I'll try to link it somewhere, but that video I did with Sean, so it was a lot of fun. But I want to mix up my own paints. Like I want those crazy cells. And so the other day, I bought all of the pieces, all the things you need, silicone, you know, pouring medium. So I bought all of these things. And I was like, I should probably test this before I start the video. So I just was on Instagram and I filmed a little thing where I, you know, did a, what do you call it? It's like a dirty pour or like a dump cup or kind of thing. So I turned the cup over and like I was not expecting the results that I got. If you follow me on Instagram, then you probably already saw what I'm talking about, but it's so cool. So I'm going to show you right now. This was my practice piece. So this is it close up. Look how crazy that is. There's so many different like small tiny lines and layers. I absolutely love it. I just wasn't expecting it to turn out like this. Just like that section right there, I cannot. It's so cool. The colors are cool. Oh my god, I love this. So I'm gonna go down the list of like all the ingredients to do this, like all the things that I used for this. I'm gonna go down the list. So obviously we've got some canvas. These are, I can't remember how big these are, but they were one of those like 8-packs that you can get at Michael's for like, it's super cheap. It's amazing. So this is just one of them. I'm going to be using that. And then for pouring medium, this is the one I've got. So it's Liquitex. And I think I got all of this from Michael's besides the silicone oil. But everything else I'm pretty sure I got from Michael's. So yeah. This is the Liquitex pouring medium. And then I've also got gesso. So I got the Liquitex gesso. Now we've also got some acrylic paints. So these are like the same paints that I used for that enormous sunset painting. But yeah, I've got these ones. These are also Liquitex. I don't know why I buy all the same brand. It just feels right, I guess. And then for the silicone oil, so I found this on Amazon. And most of the reviews say it's pretty good, so that's why I bought it. This is the same silicone oil that I used for that like test painting I showed you, so I feel like it's pretty good. But this is called the acrylic pour oil. So it literally is for like acrylic pouring. It looks like this. Got it off of Amazon. I will link this in my Amazon supply list down in the description. I think I just have it like Amazon supply list. You'll find everything that I use from Amazon in that list. I'm also going to be using a torch. Oh, there's also water, apparently. From what I've seen, you can use like distilled water. I saw another kind of water that you can use, but I was gonna try to get distilled water. Honestly, when I did the test painting, I used just water from like the bubbler, just because I haven't gotten distilled water yet, and I wanted to test it anyway. It still ended up working, and that I think is all of the ingredients. So from here, we're gonna go over to my desk. We're gonna get started. I'm gonna get a bunch of cups ready for all the different colors and the different mixtures that we're gonna do. So I will see you over at my desk. Hello. So we're over at my desk. Wow, this is my desk. So the first thing that we're gonna do is, here's my canvas. It is inside of a tote that already has tons of paint going on inside of it and some cups. that I'm basically using to like prop up the canvas, but it is all inside of a tote just so that it doesn't like leak over the sides of my desk. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is paint a small layer of gesso on top of this canvas. I don't know if you have to do this. Just kind of pour a little bit on there. I don't know if this needs to be like a thick layer. I do want to say this is, if I didn't say this in the beginning, this is definitely going to be an experiment. This isn't like I'm not an expert at this whatsoever. So these aren't like, you know, amazing directions on how to be a master at acrylic pouring. This is just kind of me learning how to do it and figuring it out. So once that is painted on there, I'm going to take this away now and let it dry off to the side, and then I'm going to get my cups out and we're going to start mixing some paints together. So these cups I found on Amazon. Might be kind of hard to show you, but that is the brand. It's like Pixis or something like that. I'll link it in my Amazon supply list that's in the description of this video, but I'm hoping that these will be really good to use because they have like a bunch of different measurement lines. So I'm hoping that'll help me like measure things out better, because before, when I was just kind of like testing stuff, I was just dumping paints in and kind of like guesstimating how much I was putting of each thing. So if you're new, just like me, to acrylic pouring, there are a bunch of different, like, I guess quote unquote recipes that you can do for this. I don't think that there's like, you know, a perfect way to do, I mean, there may be a perfect way, but I don't know if there's like one recipe that is, you know, what everybody is supposed to do. I think it depends on what exactly you're using. Like, I do also want to say that I've been reading that using silicone, which I will be using in this video, but I've heard that using silicone for this can be bad for, I guess, the longevity of like the painting lasting a long time or like looking good. What I've also been reading is that you're supposed to mix the paint and then the pouring medium together first before you put in the water and the silicone oil. So that's what we're going to do first. Okay, so I'm going to start with 4. What I'm going to do is probably like 3 colors and then white. I'm just going to put some white in this cup. And I'm just going to like hit the cup on the table to even out the paint so I can see where it is on the measurements. So it looks like this is around 1, maybe 1.5 ounces. So I'm gonna leave it at that, and I think for white I'm gonna have like a little bit of extra over like the other colors, just because I am gonna be using more white than the other colors, so I'm gonna have a little extra white. And then for the other colors, we're gonna go in with this blue. Okay, so what I've basically got is, for the white, I have 2 ounces of white paint, and then these other colors, I have 1 ounce. So it's 1 ounce of blue, 1 ounce of yellow, and 1 ounce of pink. And then from here, we're gonna add the pouring medium. And for the measurements for the pouring medium, what I did was basically added 1.5 parts. So for example, since I put 1 ounce of paint, I put 1.5 ounces of pouring medium. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that that's how you're supposed to do it. Even if it's not, I don't care. We're still having fun with it. So I'm just going to mix these together. And if any of you out there are really good at mixing up your own paints, and you're a freaking magician with this, I know it can be frustrating to watch somebody that's like learning and might be just like fumbling around, but I am just kind of like having fun. I'm sorry if it's like frustrating or if I didn't do the measurements right. I'm sorry. I'm just having fun with it. Okay, so there's the white. Now we're gonna mix up the blue. Okay, so now that the paints are all mixed up, I'm gonna add some water. I think I'm just gonna maybe do like 1/2 ounce. What do you guys think of that? Now that I've added the water, I'm gonna add some silicone oil. So I basically added 2 to 3 drops of silicone oil to each color. And so now we're gonna mix that together. The consistency seems really good, so I'm gonna try to show you. It's not like watery, it's still kind of thin, which I think is the right consistency, so I'm just mixing this together. Okay, so now that all of our paints are mixed up and ready to go, I've got a brand new cup, nothing in it, and I'm going to start pouring the paints in, like kind of sort of in like a layered way. So I'm going to start with the white. Just a little bit. And then we'll do some yellow. So this is what our cup is looking like right now. They're actually pretty solid, so I'm hoping that's not bad news. Alright, so I've got my canvas here. I'm going to pour a little bit of the white first. So I'm going to just like pick up the canvas, flip it over, put it like sort of on top of the cup, and then flip it over again. So now all the paint is sort of like falling onto the canvas. And I've seen people kind of like tap it. And now that I'm using like clear cups, I can see that, you know, the paint is still falling. Do just a little bit of white around like the edge of the cup here. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is kind of take the cup and lift it just a little bit, not all the way, and I kind of am like dragging it around and spreading the paint around. Oh my god. Okay, so I'm going to like tilt this around first so that we can sort of cover all of the canvas. Okay, so I've tilted it enough so that it's kind of covering all of the edges, and I have been also like using my fingers to finish off these edges and make sure that the paint is completely covering everything. Okay, so now that it's covering everything, I'm going to take my torch and just kind of pop the bubbles so that the cells will come out. So I feel like from way up there, you can't really see like the tiny details because the cells that I've been getting are like the really small ones, like the really, really fine ones, which I think are really cool. Kind of looks like scales or something. So I'm going to show you guys a close-up of this so you guys can really see what's going on. I think what I'm going to do, since I have more paints off to the side here, is I'm going to move this tote out of here, and I'm just going to kind of like move it to a place where it can dry. Okay, so we're back. My paints are mixed up, and what I actually ended up doing was I was able to scrape out like the last little drops of pouring medium, and I basically got like an ounce of it. So I evenly distributed it into all of the colors that I have, and then I also put a little bit more water in each one, just like a tiny bit. Okay, so for this one I want to do a different style rather than doing like the dump cup style. So what I'm going to do is what I kind of started doing in the other one, which was I'm going to do a little bit of white in the middle. Then from here, I'm just going to pour my colors right into the center, just sort of on top of each other like this. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of take it and move it around to cover as much of the painting as I can. This is definitely more runny. Alright, so I totally was not thinking of doing that until like the very last second where I kind of realized that it wasn't wasn't really going anywhere, and it was kind of just staying in the center. And I know I've seen people take heat guns, or at least like a hair dryer, and like push the paints around. So last second, I made the decision to blow these paints around, and I feel like it was the perfect decision. It looks so freaking cool. So I'm gonna get my torch, and just a little bit. I'm not gonna go too crazy, hopefully, but we all know how I am. So this one is amazing, and so I feel like this one is so much better than the first one that we just did. I feel like the colors are mixing really well. So I'm gonna give you guys a close-up shot of this one as well, because I just feel like it's kind of hard to see the full detail way up there. I have Sean here, so he's these cups here. I'm gonna be these cups. He's
I call it egg with ketchup.
But this is the coolest thing I've ever made. This is my new favorite thing that I've ever made. Hello? What the f was that? And then, whoa. It was the grossest sound I've ever heard. So I added basically what am I saying? Evenly distributed